So today we're going to be making an empire for Brazil in 2024, and the results were pretty shocking. The Brazilians are going to invade some of their neighboring countries in order to form their empire. So yeah, let's get right into the video. Brazil is one of the strongest countries in the world, and according to the Global Firepower Index, in 2023 they were the 10th strongest country if I'm not wrong. But yeah, still they're by far the strongest country in South America. But before starting the invasions, we can see that the Brazilians are now recruiting troops from all over the country, mainly from the coastlines because most of the population is over here, and now they are ready for their first invasion. And we can see that Brazil has declared war on Uruguay. We can see that the Brazilian troops are now pushing into Uruguay without facing much resistance. They encircle all of these places, and now they're pushing towards the capital city, which is Montevideo. And after a decisive military campaign, we can see that the Brazilians have taken over the capital city, and the Brazilians push around and take all of Uruguay. And later on, we can see that all of Uruguay got completely annexed by the Brazilian Empire. And with the end of that invasion, we can see that now Brazil declares war on Paraguay. Also guys, we are ignoring all of the alliances and the allies. But yeah, we can see that the Brazilian troops are now pushing into Paraguay. And once again, they're not met with any resistance. And that's how they took over all of these parts. And now they're pushing towards the capital city. And with the fall of their capital city, we can see that Paraguay also goes ahead and then surrenders. And then we can see that the Brazilian Empire also annexed all of Paraguay. But for now, the Brazilian Empire is done invading in the south. And now they are sending all of their military to the north, where they declare war on both Suriname and Guyana. At first though, we can see that the troops from Suriname are now pushing into Brazil, and we can see that the Guyanese troops are also pushing into Brazil, but this is just because the Brazilian army has not arrived. So yeah, anyways, we can see that the Guyanese troops are making some significant gains over here, even though this is a junglist terrain. But yeah, this was pretty much all of the progress shown by Suriname and Guyana, and now the Brazilian army has arrived on the front lines, and we can see that the Brazilian troops are now pushing back both these armies. The Brazilians also were able to encircle a lot of Guyanese troops over here, who later on go ahead and surrender. The surrendered army was also pretty much half of Guyana's army, and now we can see that the Brazilian troops are pushing towards Georgetown, but for now they're stalemated. Now Suriname is a very weak country, and they're unable to push back the Brazilians. I think the name of the capital city is Paraminho. I might not be pronouncing that correctly, but yeah, the Brazilian troops were able to take the capital city, and this knocks Suriname out of this war. But after a very long siege, we can see that Georgetown was also taken, and the remaining parts of Guyana just go ahead and surrender. And in this peace negotiation, we can see that all of Guyana got completely annexed by the Brazilian Empire, mainly because of the oil fields, and then Suriname got vassalized because they had nothing to offer. The invasion of the north was a huge success for Brazil, but that wasn't the only country which Brazil wanted to invade. Brazil also declares war on Venezuela, who was not well prepared for a war, and because the Brazilian troops were over here, they now push in from the western parts of Guyana, and they're mainly focusing on the coastline regions. Venezuela also does not have a good military, and we can see that Barcelona was taken, and after a swift military campaign, we can see that the capital city Caracas was also taken. The Brazilians still push around and get all of the coastline, but after losing literally everything, we can see that the remaining parts of Venezuela just go ahead and surrender. And then Venezuela got completely annexed by the Brazilian Empire. But now the Brazilian Empire is done expanding in the north, and now they also have to expand to the west, and to do thus, we can see that they declare war on Peru. But because this area is a junglist terrain, a fight is not possible on this border. I mean, it is possible, but it would be very hard. So yeah, the Brazilians thought of this, and they actually were going to use their navy. Now, right after the invasion of Venezuela, the Brazilians took out all of their naval assets. They moved around and they crossed the Panama Canal, and then all of the naval assets were over here on the coast of Peru, who was really not prepared, and Peru does not have a good navy. And now we can see that the Brazilians are making some naval landings, and after a month we can see that the Brazilians were able to make these naval landings, and now these troops are trying to meet up, but on the way was the capital city of Lima. Up in the north we can see that these troops have also met up, and now all of the Brazilian army has besieged the city of Lima. The Brazilians from here take all of these parts. I mean, these parts are not useful, but they were not well defended. But after a very long siege, and Lima realizing that they won't get any support, we can see that the capital city just surrenders, and with that the remaining parts of Peru also go ahead and surrender. Huge success for Brazil. But yeah, in a peace treaty we can see that they took over all of Peru, and this is the Brazilian Empire at its peak. So yeah, this is gonna be it for today's video. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe, leave a comment, and tell me what you guys want to see in the future, and thank you for watching.